Hey guys, Aaron here from Biz Excel Everyday with another video. I have really good news. I just got a notification for one new subscriber, so I'm so happy. Thanks for subscribing wherever you are. I was on my way to sleep, but I thought I would do another video before I went to sleep. So this question's from user reply paid 2 hours ago. So what he's trying to achieve here is he's trying to isolate transaction IDs that occurred more than 5 times and then sum up the transaction values. And he only wants to do this for only those transaction IDs that occurred more than 5 times. So he wants to basically tell Excel, hey, tell me which of these transactions occurred more than 5 times, and if so, return me the sum of those values. That's what he's trying to achieve here. Hi all, this document shows individual transaction, filter data to show only the transaction ID with, yeah, basically what I said. Let's see what those pictures look like. Looks like it's got the date, transaction ID, item ID, what that product is. Looks like some sort of grocery items maybe. Parker and Blackberry, $3.50. That's an expensive item here, $188. Anyways, so let's try and solve this problem. I have created a sample data here, some transaction IDs and values associated. These are just dollar values. I randomly created these numbers. What's highlighted in red here is the transaction that occurred more than 5 times. This actually, transaction 3065 occurred 6 times. So I highlighted this, and the total value, the sum of those values is looks like 18. Well, looks like it's summing up some of the other values. The sum of those values is 338, but we basically want it for it to do lots of set of data, a big set of data automatically. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we talked about a few applications of pivot earlier today through other videos, and I thought this would be another example of using pivot table. So let's go ahead and create a pivot table with using the commands that we already learned. So we're just going to select this data set here and create a pivot table, and we're just going to create that in a new sheet. What I want to do is I want to see my transaction values by the transaction IDs. And it's going to show me this here. I'm just going to actually change this to, instead of count, I'm just going to change this to by sum. Okay, perfect. But now how do I identify for just a transaction that it occurred more than 6 times? Well, one way to do this is by adding a count of. So basically here I added I added another transaction. I dropped them right in here, and one of them is count of that value and the other one is sum of that value, and it'll tell me right away that right here transaction 3065 occurred 6 times and that value is 338. So this is one way of identifying the values transactions that occur more than 5 times. But if he or she had a long set of data that had thousands and thousands of rows, he's not going to be able to just select 6. Scan through the document and find the ones that occur more than 6 times. You could try and copy and paste this as values and filter for values that are more than 6. That's one way to do it as well. But that's creating another step that's unnecessary. So I think there's another way to do this, which is creating a filter within the data set. So let's go back to the original data that we had here, right here. And I'm going to add a function that we learned earlier called COUNTIF. So basically I'm just going to say count if in this range here, B4 to B22, or just entirety of it, if you want. In this entire data set, in this column B, if this contains this value, which is that transaction ID, B4, then count it. And that's going to give me 6. Let's go ahead and paste those. And you can tell anywhere that was 3065, it's going to give me 6. You guys see that? And so now I can go back to my pivot chart, and I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this data so that I can bring in, and it was added to, the item ID. So I'm just going to add that in to my pivot table. Well, that's going to give me something exactly the same, but what I want to see instead is I want to be able to filter those out. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that into report filter on this right here. And that's going to create this little filter up here. And then I'm going to say anything greater than 5. Go ahead and click 6, and that's going to return me this value right here, 338. And that's how you go about solving this problem. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.